So, I have to tell on myself a little bit. When I come to church, when I'm not leading music, it's really hard to get me going in the morning. And I stand up and I sing and I look around and I'm uncomfortable. And I just inside I'm rolling my eyes. So I recognize that many of you are going to do that too as I introduce this first song. Nevertheless, if you would please stand. I can't tell you what we're doing. What I'd like you to do is go against your natural inclination not to join with me and just start clapping your hands like this. This is a call and response. Clap your hands like you mean it. Don't do it like white people. Come on. Like this. Okay, I say something, you repeat it back to me, okay? Say yes. Yes. We are here. To open our hearts. We are here. To open our minds. We are here. To open our hearts. We are here. To open our minds. Open my mind and open my heart. 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 We are here. To love ourselves. We are here. To love each other. We are here. To love ourselves. We are here. To love each other. Open my mind and open my heart. 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 We are here. To serve each other. We are here. To serve the one. We are here. To serve each other. We are here. To serve the one. Open my mind and open my heart. Open my mind and together. Open my mind and open my heart. 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 We are here. To open our hearts. We are here. To open our minds. We are here. To open our hearts. We are here. To open our minds. Open my mind and open my heart. 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 Open my mind and open my heart.
Down. We turn to one another and say,
our wonderful priest, who is our mystery school teacher, we call it, instead of Sunday school. And for any of the kids who would like to go out with her, she always has a wonderful program and training planned for them. And before we send the kids out with the priest, we'd like to have them come forward if you're willing. You don't have to if you feel a little shy, but we just send you a blessing from all of the big people here because we're so glad that you're with us. And so, you want to come up and just stand up here with the other kids? And, yeah, thank you. All the kids can hold hands with each other. Let's stand across here and hold hands. There's some more. Look at me. There's some more. Hold hands with the other kids, okay? All the kids can hold hands. It's your sister. All the kids hold hands. And turn around towards the people. Maybe it's easier for me to look at you. And you guys, did you like that song that David sang? Wasn't that fun? That we all sang together? Do you know how to jump? I remember when my little girl was about his age, she didn't quite know how to jump yet. And so she didn't quite know how to get her feet off the floor. Do you guys know how to do that? Get your feet off the floor? Yes! Yes! See, you can teach each other how to do that too. So we're just going to jump up and say to all these big people, we are one. Do you know how to hold your little hand up like that? So hold your hand up like that. Say, and jump and tell all the big people, we are one! We are one! We are one! Someday we're going to get all the big people bouncing too. We're going to get them to get up and bounce and bounce and bounce with us, okay? But you guys are going to go back and have fun with Patrice, and before you go, we like to rub our hands together and we say this blessing to them. We say, we love you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ light shining in you. Thanks for being here, and have fun with Patrice. You want to go out and have fun with her? She's going out that way, and Gary also help her. Help her, man. It's nice that some of them are related, and so they'll all help each other this morning. It's great. And you parents, you know, if you want to go back and be with them and check on them, that's fine, since it's their first time, and I think they'll be happy, though. Thank you. So now we enter into the adult time here and set our sacred space together. I like to present the theme and then see what you feel about the theme and think into it as things start to evolve in the service. You contribute to what happens here by your thoughts and your prayers and your understandings of the theme, and your singing along. So the theme for this week is of grief and dreams. Of grief and dreams. We all traverse the deep waters of grief for one reason or another. There's no escape for anybody who's human. We have to go there into the depths at times. And we all also experience miracles when we're there. Hands that reach out to us and pull us on through. Love that comes to us. Things change in ways that we never would have imagined when we traverse those deep waters. So we've got two guests with us today, each who are going to be speaking of this from a different angle. We have an old friend, Theresa, who's been around Unity for almost as long as I've been here, I think. And because she was here, she brought her dear mother, Estella, and Riney, her husband, and her children. And about a year ago, dear Estella, who's Theresa's mother, and who became very dear to our hearts, passed away about a year ago right now. And so Theresa had the idea of coming and speaking to us today about her journey through the grief process over this past year, because we were all with them at the time of the passing, and all of our prayer chaplains were there supporting them, and Estella was the founder of our prayer chaplains group. So it's wonderful to have Theresa come back around a year later and tell us where her journey took her. And then we also have a guest, well, two guests, well actually all three of you are here with your friend from Chile, but Maurice and Jeff are new friends of mine and of Unity, and they are here part of the time, and they're getting ready to leave, so this Sunday was the right Sunday for them to come before they move back to Mexico to share with us about Maurice's journey, a journey through many years of being a priest, but knowing that he was gay, and the journey that took him through many changes to the point where then he met Jeff and came through to having to leave the priesthood, and he'll tell you more about it. But he's here also to have a book signing after the service. So his wonderful book called Gay Married Priest. And he'll be, it's a profound, provocative title, isn't it? So after the service, we'll have our refreshments and everything, and then we'll go into a time of Maurice sharing more deeply, like you do at a book signing, and many more people may join us because it's been advertised. I don't know if any of you saw the front page of the Daily Tidings. It's all about love, about the events that are happening around gay marriage, and then right on the inside page is Confessions of a Gay Married Priest. And the article speaks to our unity service here, and that Maurice and Jeff are going to be here afterwards for book signing. So welcome more guests that will be coming after the service probably. So these journeys both are speaking to us of journeys that we've all been on, journeys down and into deep questioning of our souls. And I call this the shamanic journey, the journey down into the underworld where we meet the challenges and retrieve the gift. And the gift, the gift comes into us and changes us forever. So I challenge you through the talks that you're going to hear today to come in touch with your own remembrances of your journeys. Times that you've been down and in and found a gift and come on up out again. As I've been thinking about this service, of course it's reminded me of a lot of times when I was in a place where I didn't know how I would get through. And just to mention one of those, I had a calling to be a minister in the 1970s in a time when they weren't allowing gay or lesbian people to be ministers. And so I've been on a long journey myself of many down and ins and having to find love there and believe in myself and be helped on through to be here, to be a person who can stand before you for 10 years now and be held in your loving embrace and be a minister. So I'm very thankful for the love that has reached out its hand to me all through the years and beckoned me on. So even today, even this morning, there is some hand that's reaching out to you in whatever stage of life you're at, beckoning you on to live more fully, to be more true to yourself, and to come home even more to your true self. So we're so glad that you're here today to experience this together. And David, would you come and lead us in our next chant?
Two mistakes.
That was artistic license. I think your license might be revoked. I forgot what we were doing. Okay, I forgot. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I was lost. this far. Was grace that brought me safe to freedom that will last. God that will last. Amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Sing 'em all in. No. Amen. 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 Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see.
Help us to see, don't they? Sometimes when we're in really dark places, we need one another. And there are really special people that come along sometimes and we just can't let them go. We know that we have to stay with those people for a long, long time. In a way, this unity community is like that, you know. When I came upon you, when you came upon me, we felt like we couldn't let go, didn't we, Jennifer? That first time I came to Unity, you know, you followed after me and said, wait, stay and talk a while, you know. And we hang on to some people, you know, that we want to keep around for a while. And sometimes those people then become our life partners, too. This week I was counseling somebody, and a couple, and they told me about this David White poem. You know who David White is, a wonderful Irish poet. And I went and looked up the poem and brought it this morning, and I've asked our wonderful actress, Karen Douglas, to come and read this poem for us. So you can think of it as a poem about two lovers, or about you and the beloved divine, or about you and a friend. So see how it strikes you. It's a beautiful poem. Thank you, Karen.
The True Love by David White. There's a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours, especially if you have waited years, and especially if part of you never believed you deserved this loved and beckoning hand held out to you this way. I'm thinking of faith now and the testaments of loneliness and what we feel we are worthy of in this world. And I think of the story of the storm and the people waking and seeing the distant yet familiar figure far across the water that calls to them, and how we are all preparing for that abrupt waking and that calling and that moment when we have to say yes. Except it will not come so grandly, nor so biblically, and but more subtly and intimately in the face of the one you know you have to love. So when we finally step out of the boat towards them, we find everything holds us, and everything confirms our courage. And if you wanted to drown, you could, but you don't. Because finally, after all this struggle and all these years, you don't want to anymore. You've simply had enough of drowning, and you want to live, and you want to love. And you'll walk across any territory and any darkness, however dangerous, to take the one hand and the one life you know belongs in yours.
And Marta now is going to read us from the stories of Jesus, the story that this poem is based on.
Matthew 14, 22 through 33, walking on the waters. 22:23. As soon as the meal was finished, he insisted that the disciples get in the boat and go on ahead to the other side while he dismissed the people. With the crowd dispersed, he climbed the mountain so he could be by himself and pray. He stayed there alone late into the night. 24 through 26. Meanwhile, the boat was far out to sea when the wind came up against them and they were battered by the waves. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them walking on the water. They were scared out of their wits. "A ghost," they said, crying out in terror. 27. But Jesus was quick to comfort them. "Courage, it's me, don't be afraid." 28. Peter, suddenly bold, said, "Master, if it's really you, call me to come to you on the water." 29:30, he said, "Come ahead." Jumping out of the boat, Peter walked on the water to Jesus. But when he looked down at the waves churning beneath his feet, he lost his nerve and started to sink. He cried, "Master, save me!" Jesus didn't hesitate. He reached down and grabbed his hand. Then he said, "Faint heart, what got into you?" 32:33. The two of them climbed into the boat, and the wind died down. The disciples in the boat, having watched the whole thing, worshiped Jesus, saying, "This is it. You are God's Son for sure."
So what's been beckoning you to walk on the water? Who has been beckoning you to walk on the water? What steps of courage are being asked of you? What steps of courage are being asked of us here in the state of Oregon around the gay marriage petition, right? What steps of forgiveness of others are being asked of us? What angry feelings need to be healed so that you don't be faint-hearted? What needs nurturing in you? What do we have to let go of in order to be able to take the hand of love that's reaching out for us and beckoning us to grow? I'd like you to give a warm welcome right now to Maurice Monet, who had to let go of something very dear to his heart, the priesthood, in order to take that hand of love, beckoning to him. Maurice.
Good morning. Good morning. Very nice to meet you all and to be here with you. It reminds me so much of my time as a clergyman when I worked with very small groups like this group, actually, of rebel Catholics who had left their churches. My whole career was working with rebel Catholics of the 60s and the 70s. It was just fabulous. And it was all lay run. It wasn't priest dominated. So it was just fabulous. And I used to even say Mass with a woman by my side. And in the Catholic tradition, believe me, that's real close to sin. But I'd like to just simply invite you to join us after the service for a reading of a little bit of the book. And just very briefly, I'll say a few words about my own journey into the underworld. you said it so well, Norma, about the journey that all of us have to take. And we all have our own way of taking it, and we all have our own summoning onto the waters. And the psychologists actually call it individuation, among other things. And at a certain point in life, you have to become an individual, and you have to face your stuff. And you have to choose to live who you are as a human being. And for me, it meant leaving something I really enjoyed doing. But it was worth all the suffering, all the hurt that came. The miracle happened, as Norma said. And very quickly in my life, someone came along, and here I was, a gay married priest. So later in life, after I turned 30 last year, I started writing, and it came out as lots of little stories about my experience and the lessons that I've learned in my life. So I hope you can join us after for a few words on this, and I'd like to share just a couple things at that time that I learned through my particular journey, and to encourage you on your own journey, whatever that journey might be. And my book is available back there. It was published this year, and all the proceeds go to human rights organizations. So like here, they're going to Lotus Rising, and also to Southern Oregon Pride. And it's just a giveaway. My life was a gift. This book is my gift back for whatever it's worth to people.
I hope you brought a lot of copies.
Thank you, Whitey. I did. So thank you for having me here today, and I'm very gratified, personally, very personally, to be here with you. Thank you.
And now Richard's going to come and do one of his original songs for us called Home. Coming home. How do we come home? Eventually we're all going home, but there's ways that we need to come home to ourselves in this present moment. So, thank you, Richard.
This song is really special to me. I hadn't written anything in about 10 years, a couple of years ago. And then I heard this, and it was like, all right. Maybe I'll write something again. It just called to me. And so I wrote the music, and then went on this pilgrimage to Nelson, British Columbia, to sit at Cottonwood Falls, because I knew that's where I wanted to write the words. Misting rain, leaves are falling once again, and all my memories, like coins of gold, I take one out and hold it close. Warms me in the cold. I see her face and wonder how she'd look if she'd grown old. Precious colors, autumn song, but the light is fading and the call is strong. For I've grown weary of travelers' tales and the thrill of new horizons has gone a little stale. The season turns, the wanderer yearns for an old familiar trail. Follow the sun, the water's growing calmer. Down from the hardlands, finding peace in the valley. I've been blessed, I've been burned, I've seen such wondrous things. And in fortune and frailty, 10,000 lessons learned. Still my pack has grown lighter through the years, filled with silence and laughter and tears. Snowflake falling as a raven calls, tick by tick, weaving old winter's shawl. And I carry the treasure of all I've known and celebrate the mystery in all that I've been shown, and smile to think of what can come of all the seeds I've sown, and bow my head in simple thanks to know I'm not alone. But I'm finished here, and it's time to go
Such a touching prelude to having our dear Theresa come and share with us about the journey that she's been on since Estella went home. Thank you so much for being willing to open your heart to us and share this journey home to yourself. Thank you, Theresa. Theresa Mae.
So one Zen student said, "My teacher is the best. He can go days without eating." The second said,
My teacher has so much self-control, he can go days without sleep. The third said, my teacher is so wise that he eats when he's hungry and sleeps when he's tired. That doesn't actually have anything to do with my talk, but I'm just a little nervous. Icebreaker there for me. The first thing that I would like to do actually is to thank Misha, Norma's daughter. And it's a little bittersweet for me. I'm here on the 1-year anniversary of losing my mother, and you know, if I could have any amount of time with her, five more minutes. When I came up with this bright idea, and we were trying to juggle schedules and make things, because, you know, I was very particular and I wanted David to sing and etc. And, you know, they set this stuff up actually quite a bit in advance. So anyway, the person who ended up giving on their schedule, as usual, was Nisha. So I really want to acknowledge how much she gives of her mother to all of us, and how much she has given to me in this past year. So thank you. And also thank you to the whole congregation for the loving support that you have shown my family this past year. The grieving process has taken me by surprise. And in many ways I feel and felt as I was moving through it that I didn't do very well. And there's some empirical evidence to support that. That wasn't supposed to be a laugh. My inability to cope well with my grief, you know, it's cost me some friendships. It cost me my livelihood. And the debilitating depression that resulted from it shook the foundation of my faith. And I do want to apologize because I, as many do in these situations, I was isolated and I've been very aloof, save for very few individuals and all things CWG. And of course, the only thing that's remarkable about my experience is that it is unremarkable. Even as the universe seemed to keep pouring it on, just, you know, one gut punch after another. My brother was diagnosed with the same exact condition 4 months to the day after Mom's transition. You know, on what would have been her 74th birthday, my sister was in dialysis being harvested while he was down the hall being irradiated. You know, they're fine. They came through very well, but just, you know, it just kept one thing after another. And the thing is that I don't know anybody who's going through anything less. Everyone that I know has pretty much got 5 life changers on their plate, and it just seems to be the way of the shift, that everybody's going through a lot, and it's not just a change in perspective. And then as I've come out of my shell and started talking with people, I discovered that often they feel like they're not doing any better coping than I did, you know. But for me, when I finally got to the place of my bottom, there in the depths in the dark, where ego finally seemed to die, actually I just couldn't handle it and kind of passed out. But left there in the black was that ever-present I am. And, you know, in my life, especially these last few years, as I've done a lot of work, you know, Journey to Completion and numerous workshops, I have had, you know, lots of ahas and wow moments, and had moments where I felt really connected with divinity and source. But this was the first time where, you know, ego was really gone. And what I discovered was that I wasn't broken. In spite of what got me there, which was feeling very broken, you know, feeling nobody wanted my gifts, and that the only person who ever recognized them is gone. And now, those words just seem so ridiculous. It's laughable to me to read them now. But anyway, true or not, at the time it was my truth, and it was the knockout punch for ego. Ego sits on my left shoulder because I'm right-handed. And anyway, leaving just the I am for the first time to really experience that, and it was wonderful. For the first time in I don't know how long, possibly ever, I relaxed. It was all right. In fact, it wasn't just all right, it was bliss, and I was perfectly happy to just hang out there for a while. And so I found myself smiling as I heard in my mind M. Claire's poem playing. And it goes like this. Today, you beautiful life, you bastard life, you tore out nearly all of my seams. But your ardent pursuit of revealing to me my true nature is applauded. When I can stand again, I will congratulate you properly. Just now, I am getting used to all of the new places where life can reach into me. All of the places where grief and dreams have tumbled out. Just so much fluff and batting having revealed yet another child of God. So this experience is so common to all of us that poems are written about it, books, stories, movies, psychotherapy. And yet, still, even with all of the support that's out there, the first thing that most of us do in this situation is isolate. We isolate and we anesthetize with our addiction of choice. We get stuck in the middle of the poem. Why? Why are we so unprepared to deal with the second most common life experience? Chronologically, the first one being birth, and then given the first one, the second one, is pretty sure. Why is it so hard? Well, divine timing being what it is, I attended a CWG retreat last month that dealt exactly with this question. And it was the catalyst to my experience. The retreat was CWG on Recovery, subtitled The Path to Peace. And what I experienced and learned there gave me the understanding to heal and really heal. I've been doing workshops and work for years, but this one was like the full Monty. And that's why I'm standing here now. So the primary focus of the retreat was addiction in all of its forms, also known as the American Dream. And you can't talk about addiction recovery without talking about grief. They are as the two strands of the double helix, connected and intertwined. The addict has a deep relationship with his fix, and losing that relationship causes grief too. Colette Baron-Reed has a great line that I totally identify with. Everything I've let go of has my claw marks all over it. And anyone who has or is dealing with an addiction can relate. It's a rather specialized form of grief, but nonetheless, it's grief. So the retreat was led by J.R. Weston, who is the new director for this foundation. And it was really more of a workshop. J.R. assembled a panel of presenters, and they encompassed a holistic approach to addiction, body, mind, and soul. We covered it all. And each one of those presenters had been through addiction recovery. For all of them, that process had led them to their specialty. Many of them had found their path at a CWG retreat where they showed up seamless, watching the fluff roll. But nonetheless, they still had the guts to stand up there and get kneeled. That's what I call it. So, all of them were amazing, and each played a significant role in my healing, but two in particular are what I'm going to talk about here. And then of all of the books that we discussed, this one, the Grief Recovery Handbook, is my primary reference here. I recommend that everybody get a copy of this book, whether you are grieving or think you might be or not aware that So So the first thing that the handbook discusses is how our cultural upbringing handicaps us for dealing with grief. And as I was writing this, when I wrote that sentence, I was just stopped right there. That sentence itself is evidence of how deeply this is ingrained into the cultural story, no matter how much work we've done. Dealing with grief. You know, there's a lot of assumptions packed into those 3 words. You know, or it might be more apt to say just dealing with fill in the blank. You know, instead of experiencing, we deal. Culturally, we are taught to acquire things, but nothing about what to do when we lose them. And God forbid if we mistakenly express any feelings about it. Time heals all wounds. If you just keep quiet long enough, it'll pass. And not only are we ill-equipped to experience our own grief, we are just as inept at experiencing someone else's. We have a litany of soothing phrases designed to minimize the griever's experience and reinforce the cultural norms of stifling our feelings. He's in a better place. She led a full life. You'll find someone else. Life goes on. Be grateful for the time that you had. All things must pass. And my personal favorite, God never gives you more than you can handle. Which is good to know. So I won't feel so bad when I punch the next person that says that to me. So anyway, I recommend everybody get a copy of the book. I can only just scratch the surface here, but I think everybody gets the point that in our society, we are conditioned not to express our feelings, but to cope instead with our addiction of choice, which may or may not be a substance. Anyone here knows somebody who is addicted to being right? I mean, not you, but you know somebody. How about suffering? Maybe you're addicted to suffering, which goes really well with that other person who's addicted to being right, because they kind of work together that way. Maybe drama. Anyone addicted to drama? Self-deprecation, judgment. How about this one? Anybody know someone who's addicted to over-giving? Yeah. Guilt? Somebody say there with Catholics here? Or just, you know, the panacea. For me, it's the panacea. Stress. Just any kind. Just bring it. Give it to me. Love it. So, the first person I want to talk about is Jenny Ward. Jenny Ward is a play therapist. That's right. Our society has gotten to the point where we have to hire specialists now to come and teach us how to play, because we don't know how to do that anymore. And what I learned from Jenny is going to take me years to fully unpack. She was that great. But the main thing I want to talk about here, what I really noticed about her, is that she is as pissed off as I am. But she has a way of expressing it that draws people in and doesn't push them away. And I think it was the first time in my life that I have ever seen anger, and powerful anger, expressed in a positive, healing way. I didn't know that was possible. I've never experienced anything like that. Well, Jenny's book is called Who Said That? As in, who said that I have to be good, or right, or, fill in the blank. In my case, it's who said that I have to be strong? Well, guess what? Something I've learned this past year is that I'm not strong. And of the many angels that have been sent to me all through my life, and especially this last year, to demonstrate to me my true nature, are the ones who have triggered me the most are people that I have judged to be weak. Now, I no longer need them to mirror that to me, thank God. Because another thing that I learned was that being authentic isn't about shining all the time. You know, and that was the real key to Jenny's anger, authentic expression. Being pissed off doesn't make you a bad person. Frankly, in today's world, it's indicative of brain activity. You know, cognitive function is going on with it. Like ego, anger has gotten a really bad rap. You know, anger has a place and it has a purpose, and we should be angry about a lot of things that are going on right now. Now, here's the paradox. I just said that being authentic isn't always about shining, but actually it is. When Jenny was very authentically expressing her anger, she did shine. I am not the only person who was totally blown away by her. I am not the only one who was inspired by her model of using the power of her anger in a positive, healing way. Just think, you know, we all know how powerful anger is. You had somebody blow up in your face, right? Now, so it's like Monsters, Inc., right? Where we can get so much energy by scaring the kids, but if we make them laugh, there's a gazillion times more, right? Everybody seen that movie? Am I the only one with kids? So, anger fueled by love, as opposed to anger fueled by fear, right? And if we can all tap into that power, you know, even individually, but if we can do that collectively, cowabunga. What can we do? So it's probably more accurate to say that being authentic isn't about our common conceptions of what it is to shine. Because being pissed off isn't what normally comes to mind when we talk about being in our authentic place. Right? But it could be. The other person I want to talk about is Tara Janelle Walsh. So Tara talked about how when she came out of rehab, she was not so much overwhelmed, but just amazed, surprised at her feelings, at the experience of them, having been anesthetized for so long to actually experience feeling her feelings. And it truly was a born-again experience, and anybody who's come through addiction recovery will tell you pretty much the same thing. We are culturally desensitized to violence, and so, of course, we have disengaged from our feelings. If we actually felt our feelings, there's no way that we could sit through our entertainment. It would be possible. So we must unlearn our cultural insanity of desensitized without and stifled within. Get out of our heads and into our hearts. Now, how many times have we heard that statement said in this room? Like 3 to 5 times a week, right? Norma says it every week. We hear it in the songs. We probably get out in our car and it's playing on the CD, right? But I want to talk about that again because coming from the heart doesn't mean being emotional. When I say we need to experience our feelings, I don't mean being emotional. Emotions come from the limbic system in the midbrain. They are a byproduct of thought. Emotions are in our heads. It is in the heart that we experience our feelings. It is in the heart that where we practice self-acceptance, not the head. The head can't do it. It can't. It's like, it's over there, spinning the wheels, comes from here. It is in the heart that we practice the self-acceptance, not the head. It is in the heart that we are healed. Once that healing happens, the rantings of the mind, well, for me, they just kind of disappeared into a chuckle. Ours is a quest for understanding, really, and the healed heart, I think, is the only way. There's many ways to get the healed heart, but ultimately that's where it's at. So I left this retreat feeling for the first time in my life not ashamed to be. And in the month plus since it's ended, that self-acceptance has remained and become my foundation. Now, I'm not going to claim to have achieved mastery. And there's sometimes when it's still pretty hard. I have made and have tried to make some really big changes in my life in this past year. And none of the outcomes that I have worked the hardest for and hoped the most for, the ones that I was really attached to, none of those have come to be. And, there's been times when that's really complicated my grieving process because it's been unclear to me which loss I was feeling more. They're all so intertwined. So I really resonate with M's poem, and it was, the accepting of the categorical rejection of my dreams of what could be is just as she describes. It's just so much fluff. And I've developed a new sense of gratitude for the floor. And I want to thank you all again today, this time for allowing me to come and stand here. Because sharing this with you is me starting to stand up again. And as I watch the fluff of my grief and dreams roll out, what I do have is the floor. And the floor, of course, is gratitude. It doesn't hurt any less that there are some folks that don't see my value and just others that simply don't want what I have to give. But what's changed is that, that doesn't send me into the downward spiral of self-loathing like it would have in the past. The ripped out seams and the lost stuffing simply clear the way for a greater seeing. I am so fortunate. We can start with those two short people that follow me. They're not so short anymore. Talk about a gateway into gratitude right there. I have got so much to be thankful. I get to go to work at the Conversations with God Foundation. Do you know how many people would give their eye teeth to be able to volunteer like I do? Right? What a gift. And we would be here all day for a week if I went on about, So anyway, I believe that there are no accidents. There are no coincidences in life. It was no accident that JR held that retreat when he did and that I was able to attend. It was no accident that I was able to spend last weekend with my sister on the actual anniversary date of my mother's transition. And while I was there with her, I would accompany her on her early morning walks. And last Sunday, as we strolled to the pond by her house to see there's nesting swans and all of their bird friends, I talked with her. And my sister is a reverend. I don't know how many of you know that. So she's a reverend at the Unity Church there in Sacramento. And so as we strolled along, I talked with her about how I still, feel challenged with the whole concept of the, surrender and taking action. And, I'm learning how to be in this new all that I am. And there's some of those old dreams that I would like to be able to dream anew. The ones that I was really attached to, I figured out. And so it was no accident, again, when a couple hours later we walked into the service at her Unity Church and the Reverend James Trout delivered a sermon on exactly that. And I'm going to borrow from him here. He reminded us that spiritual law is the law of paradox from our perspective. And what appear to be opposites are the extremes of the same thing. Often in life, we get what we are most afraid of, because what we fear most, we are keenly interested in. And we have a way of bringing it about in our lives. He suggested that we become afraid of being happy and peaceful, terrified of wealth, and deeply fearful of soul-based companionship. How many of us have gotten exactly what we feared the most, even though we didn't realize it, that was even our fear until it happened? I had no idea I was broadcasting that. Because that's what happens when we stifle and we stuff, right? This is still driving the train. And when our feelings unexpressed get shoved down, these two are connected. This one's not in charge, but it thinks it is. So we got down here, stuffed and stifled, still driving the train, up here spinning the wheels. Gee, why am I getting not what I want? I don't understand. So we turn to our spiritual practices, right? And on the one hand, we are told to visualize what we want. But on the other, to let go and let God. They say you need to be specific in your affirmations and intentions and visualizations, but then don't try to tell God what to do. We are created in the image and likeness of the Creator with a free will to do what we want, but told to chant, not my will, but thine. You know, it's like giving the kid an axe for Christmas and then telling him not to chop anything. So anyway, these examples show the same polarity of our fear-desire, the same spiritual law of paradox. Therefore, the answer to the question, do I surrender or take action, is yes. It's not an either-or question. They are polarities of the same thing. So I don't let go of my dreams, just my narrow concept of it. And the way to do that, continue to be in relationship with others. At the retreat, Jenny Ward shared a story about taking her 5-year-old daughter Leela to the playground. Leela runs up to kid number 1 and says, "Want to play?" Kid says no. She runs to the next kid. "Want to play?" No. She didn't get a yes until kid 5. It didn't matter. Once she found someone who did want to play, they did and had fun. There was no judgment. There was no hanging on to the previous rejection. Oh my God, this other kid. Ah. None of that. You know, so now I take my next cue from Jesus when he tells us to be as little children. Right? I'm going to jump on the bandwagon, though, and say paradoxically, be as little children, but take responsibility. Take responsibility for the decisions that you make, not the outcomes of those decisions. Let me say that one more time. Take responsibility for the decisions that you make, not the outcomes of those decisions. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control the decision-making process. So, I can decide to feel rejected. I can be as Diogenes and go beg from statues, right? Or I can decide to just go on to the next kid and say, "Want to play?" The final activity that Tara had us do was to write in a card, and then she collected them and mailed them out to us. And what we had to do was finish the statement. One of the things that I love so much about you, meaning ourselves, is when my card arrived, I could not remember what I had written. I remembered how I felt when I was writing it, and I'm sure you won't be surprised when I tell you that when I opened the card and read it, you know, tears roll. And what I wrote was, "You never give up." So, it is with great joy and tremendous gratitude that I pick up this new light self. Now, ego's still there, but now I like to call it small self. And small self sits on my left shoulder too, but not because I'm right-handed, because it's closer to my heart. You know, and that's part of the whole acceptance, the real, genuine, heartfelt acceptance. You know, there's nothing wrong with my small self. Everybody has one, right? You got one?
Yeah.
What about you? Got? Oh, maybe not. You know, there's a joke, how much ego do you need? Well, just enough so that you don't step in front of a bus, right? You know? So, and it's so much easier now because it's become so much quieter. And this has now become the new self-fulfilling prophecy. The genuine, heartfelt self-love of the I am includes the small self. Small self is part of me too, right? Small self now feels loved and accepted, so it doesn't need to act out for attention, and it can just be, and the all that I am just finds that absolutely adorable. Just another child of God. So my closing message, live now, right now. Feel your feelings. Express them authentically. Connect with each other. And some fun things that I recommend is going to cslworld.org for videos of the Reverend James Trapp and my sister. And if you haven't heard him speak, he's great. I highly recommend everybody watch Neil Donald Walsh on YouTube. See, Smile, Touch. It's like a 6-minute video clip from a retreat. Check out Tara Jamil Walsh's website, Soulabrate, which is like celebrate, only Soulabrate. Jenny Ward's book, Who Said That? And the Grief Recovery Handbook. And once again, thank you. Namaste.
Dang, y'all. Oh, that's cool. They all say dang with me. Dang. Dang, y'all. Dang, y'all. Or are you supposed to say dang? Which leads us to our next song. You're going to have to say huh. Huh. Say good God. Good God. That's what I'm talking about. Theresa said we had to do this song. She turned me onto the YouTube and I said, oh, we can do that. It's Mavis Staples. Now, was she up to Staples singer?
Oh, yeah.
Well, she wrote this song, and it says some stuff that I think maybe Theresa wants to say too. I like the